The illusion of happiness. The kitchen was filled with the warm, familiar scent of apple cinnamon muffins, a Saturday morning ritual in the Carter household. Anna moved quietly between the stove and the counter, humming "Here Comes the Sun" under her breath as a pale autumn light spilled through the window. She stole a glance at the clock, 8:14 a.m., right on schedule. Everything in Anna's world seemed to revolve around schedules, routines she'd built for comfort and out of habit. For love, too, she liked to think. Her husband, Michael, sat at the table, lost behind the pages of the Wall Street Journal. He always read the news, black coffee in hand, eyes darting over bold headlines. Anna had memorized this sight the way one memorizes the sound of the ocean from their childhood home. She placed his favorite ceramic mug next to the newspaper, drawing a brief, absent-minded smile from him. "Thanks, babe," Michael said, his words muffled by the rim of the cup. Their 10-year-old son, Ben, darted into the kitchen, pajamas flaring and hair tousled like he'd been in a windstorm. "Mom, did you see my science project?" he asked, brandishing a lopsided volcano. Anna wiped flour from her hands and knelt to inspect his handiwork, lavishing him with praise. She pulled him in for a quick hug. Ben wriggled and giggled in her embrace. Anna took in the scene. Michael engrossed in the business section, Ben's laughter echoing around the room, the autumn sun filtering through the bay window and dappling the dining table. It was a picture-perfect tableau, one she sincerely cherished, a snapshot of the family she'd poured her heart and years into creating. Had someone asked her that morning if she was happy, Anna would have answered yes unhesitatingly. But in this moment, beneath her tranquil routine, a quiet longing flickered, so faint she hardly noticed. She brushed it away, determined to cling to the simple joys, fresh muffins, her son's laughter, her husband's gentle nod as he turned a page. Outside, a gentle breeze tugged on scarlet leaves, making them flutter and dance against the window pane. Anna watched them, feeling for an instant as though she, too, might be swept away. Yet she stood firm, savoring this fragile, golden peace, trusting, perhaps too much, that it would last. First, cracks been demanding, a constant barrage of emails, calls, and business trips. But lately, the barrier between work and home felt impenetrable. One Friday night, Anna set out Michael's favorite roast for dinner, letting the scent fill the house. She expected to hear his car in the driveway by 6, then 7. By 8, the food lay cold and untouched on the table. Ben had fallen asleep in front of the TV, his plate barely touched. Anna reheated the roast and texted Michael, her fingers lingering on the keyboard. "Are you okay?" she finally sent. "Tied up at the office. Sorry, don't wait up," came his reply, a curt, distant string of words. Through restless nights, Anna stared at the ceiling, replaying small moments she'd never questioned before. Michael pulling away when she reached for his hand, a coldness in his tone when he spoke to her, the out-of-place whiff of strange perfume on his collar one Thursday evening, when she asked gently, "Is everything all right? Are you stressed?" Michael brushed her off, eyes flickering to his buzzing phone. Even her friends noticed. Over coffee, Lisa leaned in with quiet concern. "Anna, you seem tired. Everything okay at home?" Anna smiled tightly, forcing her voice steady. "Just busy with Ben and work, you know how it is." But deep down, an ache had settled in her chest, an ache she couldn't name, much less voice. Part of her clung harder to routine, packing Ben's lunches, cleaning the house, trying new recipes for dinner, clinging to anything solid as Michael became more elusive. One Sunday afternoon, Anna found herself standing at the window, watching neighbors rake leaves beneath the sky almost too blue. Happiness, she realized, had become a sight she watched from afar, as if she were peering in at her own life through frosted glass. And though she told herself not to worry, not to jump to conclusions, she couldn't ignore the cracks beginning to spiderweb across the surface of her carefully constructed world. Friend's birthday party, leaving the house eerily silent. Michael said he was running errands, but Anna watched from the upstairs window as he drove off. glancing in the rearview mirror with an expression she couldn't decipher. She thought about letting it go, about baking muffins, about sunlight and laughter and all the things that made life make sense. Instead, she opened Michael's laptop, guilt prickling in her veins. She knew the password. It was Ben's birthday, a pattern unchanged for years. Her hands hovered, uncertain, before she clicked into his email. The confirmation she didn't want offered itself up too easily. Messages marked with a woman's name she didn't recognize, their tone intimate and laced with inside jokes. Photos of cocktails clinking in dimly lit bars. Anna shut the laptop. The room spun on its axis. Later that night, she listened to Michael's footsteps in the hallway. Everything about him looked the same. His tie loose, his steps tired, the faint stubble along his jaw. But the space between them was new, vast as the ocean. She lay awake listening to his breath, feeling the invisible wall he'd built with secrets and half-truths. The next morning, Anna stood at the bathroom mirror and stared at her reflection, searching for signs. Had she been too dull, too tired, too busy? Pain splintered through her chest, grief layered with an unbidden anger. He had lied. She was sure of it now, and the knowledge hollowed her out. She would not confront Michael, not yet. She needed more than partial truths and hunches. She needed the real picture, no matter how much it hurt. Anna drew a slow breath, squared her shoulders, and wiped away the tear that threatened to fall. If love was slipping through her fingers, she would learn exactly where, how, and with whom. And for the first time, the thought of letting go frightened her less than the pain of holding on. Silent confrontation. The world did not end when Anna learned the truth. She woke up, made coffee, packed Ben's lunch, and swept stray crumbs for explanations with cool, steady nods. She smiled at Ben, read him stories, kept their world spinning. Every action became deliberate, a shield against falling apart. She started keeping a private journal hidden in her bedside drawer. In careful looping script, she recorded what she saw, heard, and felt. A log of Michael's absences, unexplained phone calls, and late-night texts. At night, when the house was still and her doubts loudest, she wrote furiously, telling the blank pages everything she couldn't voice aloud. Michael seemed relieved by her quiet. He interpreted her calm for forgiveness or perhaps indifference. He stayed out later, offered excuses with less finesse, almost daring her to notice. Anna let the facade persist. If it comforted him to believe she was oblivious, so be it. She wore serenity like a mask. In the background, Anna consulted a lawyer, an old college friend, discreet and sharp-eyed, about her rights, their assets, the path, should she decide to take it. She made copies of documents, checked bank statements, and memorized passwords. Her resolve grew, steeled by each small secret act of self-preservation. Some nights, Anna stared at Michael as he slept, his face unworried in the glow from the street lamp. She tried to trace where things had gone wrong, how the man she'd once loved had become a stranger in her own bed. He might have had his secrets, but she was learning the power of her own. Through it all, she bid her time, not driven by vengeance, but by a measured determination to reclaim her dignity and her future. Anna knew that when the moment of reckoning came, Her calm would be her greatest weapon. And so, in the hush between heartbeats, Anna became someone new. Not the betrayed wife, but a woman waking up to her own strength, quietly preparing for the storm she was now sure would come. Gathering evidence. Anna's days began to unfold with silent precision. Every movement weighted with a new sense of purpose. The mask of normalcy she wore at home was flawless. In some way, occupying herself with this quiet investigation helped keep her from drowning in grief. Anna found herself observing Michael through a new lens, cataloging not only the evidence he left behind, but the ways in which he had changed. His phone, once littered on bathroom counters and kitchen tables, was now always zipped into his briefcase. He answered calls behind closed doors. He spent more Saturdays away, and the explanations for each absence grew flimsier with time. The truth, once hidden, now seemed to pulse with every sigh, every nervous glance in her direction. She reached out to a trusted attorney, Gabrielle, an old friend from college. Their meeting was staged as an impromptu lunch on a rainy Thursday. Over the clink of utensils in a quiet booth, Anna slid a worn legal pad across the table, her handwriting neat and compact. "This is everything I've noticed," she whispered. Gabrielle read in silence, her brow drawn in sympathy and admiration. "You're being smart about this," she murmured, her voice low and steady. "We'll protect what's yours." Anna returned home that afternoon feeling something foreign. Pride, maybe, or the first tremors of freedom. That night, while Michael watched television beside Ben, Anna quietly checked the safe, confirming which documents she'd need to copy next. She took care to shield Ben from the tension lurking below the surface. She read to him at bedtime, checked his homework, feigned laughter when he told her jokes at the dinner table. Anna created a bubble of warmth and security for her son, determined not to let Michael's deception puncture the safe harbor of Ben's life. The duplicity exhausted her, but she bore it stoically. One day this would be over. She would not be a victim lost in the margins of her own story. For now, Anna moved like a phantom through her home, her senses sharpened, her heart steeled. Each piece of evidence she gathered was not a betrayal, but a reclamation. She was no longer mourning a broken marriage. She was laying the foundation for the new life she was quietly, methodically building. One detail, one screw, all at once, filling the house with tension. Anna watched him empty his pockets onto the kitchen counter, car keys, his phone, a crumpled receipt from some place she'd never heard of. She braced herself against the familiar anger, fisted her hands so tightly her nails left crescent marks on her palms. "Michael?" Her voice surprised him, clear, steady. He glanced up, startled by something in her tone. "Yeah?" he replied, trying for casual, but even he heard the tremor in his own voice. "We need to talk." Anna gestured toward the living room, where the lamplight cast long shadows on the hardwood floor. Ben was at a friend's house, an arrangement Anna had made earlier, steeling herself for what was to come. Michael hesitated, his posture defensive, but followed her to the sofa. For a moment, there was only the sound of rain beating against the windows and the low hum of the refrigerator. Anna opened her folder, the one she'd carried in her purse for days but never dared to reveal. She handed it to him, her hand steady now. "I know about her," she said quietly, "and about all the lies." Michael's face went white. He thumbed nervously through the pages, copies of messages, receipts, photographs, suddenly more fragile than Anna had ever seen him. "Anna," he began, but the words faltered. She cut him off. "Don't. Please, just Don't insult me or yourself with excuses." Her voice shook, not with fear, but with the remnants of heartbreak transforming into something stronger. For the first time, Michael saw the steel behind her eyes, the woman who had kept her family together, who had loved him fiercely, and who now, at last, demanded honesty. The silence between them was vast. He tried apologies, explanations, feeble half-truths. Anna listened, arms folded, letting the words slide off her like rain. When Michael finally went silent, she spoke again, her voice as calm as water. "I want you to leave tonight," she said. "I need space to think, to breathe, and to decide what comes next. For me, and for Ben." Michael sat stunned, mouth opening and closing, searching for words that no longer mattered. Just then, the storm outside surged, lightning illuminating the darkened room. Anna reached to a silence that felt both foreign and full of possibility. The house seemed lighter, as if someone had opened the window and let out a years-old breath. She lay in bed and listened, not for footsteps in the hall, or the clatter of keys on the kitchen counter, but for her own pulse, strong and steady in the dim dawn. She moved quietly through her morning routine. The coffee maker gurgled and hissed, filling the kitchen with the familiar earthy scent. Anna stood by the window, hands wrapped around her mug, and watched rainwater drip from the maple leaves. She let herself remember last night, not with shame or regret, but with a sense of finality. The decision had been made. There was pain, yes, but also clarity. When Ben came home later that morning, Anna greeted him with a smile she meant. He glanced around, noticing the subtle emptiness, his father's shoes missing from the mat, the jacket no longer hanging by the door. But Anna knelt to hug him and whispered, "Everything's going to be all right." She didn't elaborate. She gave Ben space to feel whatever he needed to feel, answering his tentative questions one at a time, sparing him the darker details. In the weeks that followed, Anna became reacquainted with solitude. There were practical matters to attend to, calls with the lawyer, meetings with bankers, emails about dividing assets. Each task felt daunting at first, but as she checked items off lists, confidence grew in her chest like a new bloom. She no longer waited for Michael's texts, nor scanned her phone for signs of betrayal. She looked up, met her own reflection in the hallway mirror, and saw a woman who, little by little, was learning how to begin again. She changed small things at first. She repainted the living room, soft blue, the color of summer morning sky. She bought different flowers for the kitchen vase. She rearranged the bookshelves, putting her favorites front and center. Nothing radical, but each act was a silent declaration. This is my home, mine and Ben's. And when the evenings grew long, Anna would pour a glass of wine and let herself dream. Where would they travel? Just the two of them. What would she study if she returned to school? What sort of life, wide and unafraid, could she carve out now that she was free? Not every day was easy. There were moments when grief rolled over her broken ground. Anna would not just survive this. She would grow, root and branch, until her spirit was in full bloom once more. Autumn crept quietly into the city, tinging the maples with gold and setting the mornings aglow with a crisp promise. For Anna, the days settled into a gentler rhythm. The heartbreak hadn't vanished. Old wounds ached like bruises on cold mornings, but the pain no longer ran her life. In the hush after heartache, something like hope had begun to take root. She returned to work, stepping back into her office with nerves that trembled beneath her blouse. For years, she'd let her ambition shrink to fit the contours of someone else's story. Now, with Michael gone, Anna reclaimed her space. She sat straighter at meetings, spoke up with quiet authority, and after hours, she poured herself into learning, taking online courses, scribbling ideas into her battered notebook, stretching toward some future not yet fully imagined. Support came from unexpected places. Her sister Laura called every night, sometimes just to tell Anna a joke or share a memory from their childhood when the nights felt heavier. Her closest friend Miriam invited her for Sunday brunches, listening without judgment, offering easy laughter and gentle distraction. Even Ben, with his resilience and wide-eyed questions, gave Anna a reason to get up, to keep trying, to piece together the world on new terms. Weekends became something precious. Anna and Ben explored the farmers' market downtown, sampling pears and honey, laughing as Ben tried, and failed, to hula hoop with the vendors by the fountain. They spent afternoons in the kitchen, Anna's hands flour-dusted as she showed Ben how to shape dough, his delight infectious as their bread rose golden and imperfect in the oven. This was their family now. Different, perhaps, but whole in its own right. One evening, as the first chill settled over the city, Anna attended an art class at the local community center. She arrived shy, unsure among strangers, but soon found herself drawn in by colors and textures, the gentle chatter of creation, endings out there in the darkness. She saw possibility, wild and unknown, but hers. In the gentle unfolding of each new horizon, Anna discovered what she never expected. Not just peace, but a shining, stubborn hope. The chill of late autumn sharpened the air as Anna prepared for Ben's birthday. Decorations hung from the kitchen arch, the scent of chocolate cake drifting through the apartment, and laughter echoed as Ben and his friends dashed between rooms, oblivious to the heap of coats by the door and the scattered wrapping paper. Anna moved among the guests with practiced grace, pouring punch, settling small squabbles, and snapping photos of gap-toothed grins. For the first time in a long while, joy felt natural, unforced, unscripted. The day was busy, bright, and noisier than their new normal, but Anna found herself unexpectedly grateful for the cheerful chaos. As the party wound down, the doorbell rang. Anna expected another parent, arriving late for pickup. Instead, when she opened the door, she was met by a familiar face. Daniel Harper. His eyes, stormy blue, unchanged by the years, regarded her with surprise and warmth. "Anna," he said, his smile hesitantly broadening. "I hope I'm not intruding." For a beat, Anna was breathless. Daniel, her friend from college, from a world she'd left behind and never quite expected to see again. Memories tumbled forward. Late-night debates in crowded cafes, shared laughter during finals, the gentle way he'd brushed her hair from her eyes just before graduation. She found her voice. "Daniel, this is unexpected." He grinned, holding out a neatly wrapped present. "For Ben. I saw on Laura's social media that it was his big day. Thought I'd drop by if that's all right." Anna motioned him in, cheeks flushing with delight and nerves as Daniel stepped across the threshold. He laughed with the children, complimented Ben's cape, and helped gather stray balloons from beneath the couch. The afternoon unfolded naturally. Dan smiled, surprised at how much she wanted to say yes. "I think I'd like that." As Daniel came down the steps and out into the blue shadow of evening, Anna lingered at the doorway, heart lightened by the promise in his smile. The past and the present had gently collided, not in grief or regret, but in possibility. Anna realized she was no longer looking back with longing or forward with fear. Whatever the future brought, new friendships, fresh beginnings, or the slow blossom of something more, she was ready to open her door, to let the unexpected guest inside. Stepping into the light. November arrived in a hush of frost and lengthening shadows, but Anna did not shrink from the cold. She wrapped herself in Ben's laughter, the velvet comfort of her own resolve, and stepped out into the world with a newfound ease. Gone was the rawness of endings. In its place bloomed a sense of quiet expectation. Each morning Anna walked Ben to school. They raced each other to the corner, leaving puffs of white breath in the chilly air, and Anna marveled at how fast he was growing, taller, braver, full of questions about everything. Their conversations had changed in recent weeks, growing deeper and more candid. One day Ben asked if Dad would ever come home. Anna answered honestly, her words held steady by the soft strength she'd discovered within herself. "I don't know, sweetheart, but I know I'll always be here for you." Some afternoons, Anna met Daniel at the local art workshop. At first, their meetings were awkward, in the way of people reacquainting themselves after years apart. But the old camaraderie soon re-emerged. Anna found herself swept up in Daniel's passion for art, the way he illuminated a painting's hidden story, the gentle patience he extended to every student. Under his encouragement, Anna's sketches stilled from nervous lines into assured shapes. She sketched Ben, a world of love in every pencil stroke. She painted sunrises and window light, and quietly, the hope opening like a green shoot in her heart. With each week, Anna's confidence spanned old life she left behind. But Anna no longer measured the future by what she had lost. She measured it by the light she cultivated each day, her independence, her art, the warmth she created for herself and her son. One night, as Anna and Ben sat on the sofa reading under a patchwork quilt, Anna glanced at the photographs on the mantel. Old memories mingled with the new, Ben's gap-toothed smile, Anna holding her first painting, a snapshot of her and Daniel at the exhibit, faces open to possibility. Anna realized then that healing was not a single act, but 1,000 small choices, a willingness to open the curtains each morning, to try, to forgive, to hope. The past would always be with her, some days quiet as a whisper, others as loud as a bell, but she no longer walked in shadows. And so, as darkness fell outside and laughter flickered through her home, Anna knew she was finally stepping into the light, unafraid, unfinished, but wholly, defiantly alive. By mid-December, the city shimmered with festive lights, strung across storefronts, casting golden patterns on freshly fallen snow. Anna's weekends filled with crafts and cocoa, and every corner of their small apartment seemed to hum with anticipation. Only this year, anticipation felt different, lighter, less tinged with pain or worry. One Saturday, Daniel arrived early, his arms full of groceries and a shy grin on his face.
"I thought maybe we could cook together, if you and Ben don't mind a little chaos in the kitchen."
Anna laughed, her heart giving a small leap. "Only if you agree to wear a silly apron like the rest of us." The hours that followed melted by in a blur of flour-dusted laughter. Ben and Daniel competed to see who could make the weirdest shaped cookies, and Anna found herself marveling at the ease with which Daniel fit into their world, the gentle patience with her son, the tender way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. For the first time, Anna wondered if it was okay to imagine a future, not just for herself, but for all three of them. After they'd packed tins of cookies to share with the neighbors, Ben curled up in his room to read, and Anna and Daniel stood by the window, watching snow swirl beneath the streetlights.
"Can I ask you something?"
"With you." Daniel smiled, a slow, relieved smile that set Anna's heart fluttering. He bent his head. brushing a kiss across her knuckles, so gentle it made her ache. When Ben wandered in, rubbing his eyes, Anna pulled both of them close. They looked out on the world, unfamiliar, yes, but open. Their reflections mingled in the frosted window, a simple promise sketched in light and possibility. In the days that followed, change came in small, sacred moments. Anna introduced Daniel to her sister and friends. He joined them at the community center, applauding Ben's earnest holiday play. With each passing day, their lives twined gently together, not erasing what came before, but building something new atop its foundation. One night, as Anna tucked Ben into bed, he tugged at her hand. "Is Daniel going to stay with us forever?" Anna kissed his forehead, tears springing to her eyes. "I hope so," she whispered, "if that's what we want." Ben nodded, smiling sleepily. "I do." In the quiet that followed, Anna sat by herself, letting happiness fill her chest with a gratitude so fierce it almost frightened her. Love had not saved her from sorrow, but it had shown her how to begin again, braver with every step. That night, Anna wrote in her journal by lamplight, "This is the feeling I thought I'd never find again. Not safety, not certainty, but belonging, and a courage I've earned page by page, day by day." Snow fell thick and silent outside, blanketing the world in newness. Inside, Anna closed her eyes, holding on to the warmth of new beginnings. She was ready for laughter, for love, for every next chapter waiting just beyond the window. January swept into the city with a blue, brittle cold. The world beyond Anna's window seemed to contract, every sound dampened by fresh snow and the hush of deep winter. Outside, sunlight glinted off frosted branches. Inside, Anna fought to hold on to the fragile sense of from disappointment. Was she strong enough to keep moving forward, even if the past insisted on following? Sensing her unrest, Daniel reached for her hand. "You don't have to face this alone, you know," he said quietly. Anna pressed her lips to his fingers, letting the words settle inside her. She didn't have to carry everything by herself anymore. That was new, and it was terrifying, but good. In the days that followed, Anna and Daniel helped Ben prepare for the changes ahead. They talked openly, letting Ben voice his worries and hopes. Daniel never tried to take Michael's place, but he stood beside Anna and Ben both, listening patiently, offering small comfort when the conversations grew difficult. Still, a tension crept into the house, a sense of waiting, as if everyone was bracing for a storm. Anna noticed it in the way Ben grew quiet before bed, in the way Daniel lingered over his coffee, searching for ways to help. One icy Saturday, Anna suggested a hike in the nearby woods, a chance to shake off the anxiety and breathe. Bundled in layers, they followed the trail along a frozen creek, their breath pluming in the chill air. Ben darted ahead, tossing snowballs at Daniel, who dodged with exaggerated leaps, his laughter ringing out across the bright, silent woods. At a clearing, Anna watched as Ben and Daniel built a lopsided snowman. She saw Ben's wariness melt in Daniel's warmth, the way her son leaned into laughter again with cautious hope. For a moment, Anna let herself believe that love really did make things possible, even when it couldn't make everything easy. When Daniel brushed snow from her sleeve, his eyes gentle, Anna realized how deeply she'd come to need him, not just as a partner, but as someone willing to brave the storms by her side. "Whatever happens," she whispered, "promise you'll stay." Daniel's answer was steady, as sure as winter sunlight. "I promise." Back at home that night, with cheeks still pink from the cold, Anna wrote in her journal, "Winter tests everything, a tree's roots, a family's heart, the boundaries of hope. But I am not who I was. I've learned to bend."